Explosive development in the Kyron Horman case. The missing boy's father believes Kyron's stepmom, Terry Horman, his wife, is, quote, involved. That's how he put it in his son's disappearance. He says so in a court document. The judge just unsealed the restraining order. The contents are mind-blowing. Plus, we've got the lowdown on that bungled police sting that targeted Terry Horman 2 weeks ago. Did it backfire when she calls the cops on the cops? It's now been 5 torturous weeks since little Kyron vanished from his school. His stepmom, Terry Horman, told investigators she saw him walking down the hallway and waved goodbye and left him there headed to class. At first, the family appeared to buy that explanation. Listen to Kyron's biological mom back then.
We know for sure that Terry dropped him off. That's what we know for sure.
But now, with claims that Terry tried to hire a landscaper to murder her own husband, Kyron's dad, everything has changed. Kane's parents do not believe Terry Horman's explanation of what happened to Kyron and say she is no longer even cooperating with police.
Since our last statement Thursday requesting that she cooperate with investigators, she has not contacted investigators and provided any information to assist in bringing Kyron home.
Now, stunning new reports of police tried to trap Terry in a sting operation by recruiting the landscaper she allegedly tried to hire to kill her husband. But that sting backfired. Whose fault is that? You be the judge. And I'm taking your calls on this one. 1-877-JDM says. That's 1-877-586-7297. Straight out to my fantastic expert panel. But we begin with investigative reporter Michelle Sagona, who's got breaking news on the just-released restraining order. Michelle, what's in there? What's the very latest?
There is a lot in here, Jane, and a little bit of the information coming out from it is that Kane, in his own words and in his own handwriting, states that police gave him probable cause to believe that, number one, Terry may have attempted to hire someone to kill him, and number two, that Terry may have some sort of involvement with the disappearance of Kyron Horman. And that is why he was granted this particular restraining order. There's a lot of pages here. It goes on and on about a few of the places that she is not allowed to come into contact with them. It lists them out: the gym, Skyline Elementary School, things of that nature. So we are learning a little bit more about this and exactly where Kane stands tonight.
Well, Midwin Charles, you see it right there. That's his handwriting. That's the handwriting of Kyron's father. He is not mincing words. He is pointing the finger directly at his estranged wife.
Well, you know, I think it's very interesting how, you know, the minute this child goes missing, he's automatically pointing the finger at her. It really begs the question as what kind of relationship they had. I mean, to jump to such an accusation, he clearly must never had respected her and never had loved her. I mean, to think that the woman he married would have something to do with the disappearance of his child is mind-boggling.
Well, wait a second.
Well,
I got to bring Mike Brooks in on this. If cops call you and say, hello, I'd like to inform you, sir, that it's our belief that your wife tried to hire a landscaper to rub you out, I think that might change the equation. That's a game changer, isn't it, Mike?
It really is, Jane, and you know, it was interesting because in the report too, in the order, it says about firearms. He basically says, I don't know, but he underlined that part because he was really in fear of his life. Otherwise, why would he take their little infant and get out of there? Because he felt there was imminent danger of something happening to him because law enforcement told him this.
Well, this brings me to my big issue tonight, and hang in there, this is complicated. We asked the question, were cops stung by their own sting? They warned Kane Horman that his wife allegedly tried to hire a landscaper to murder him. Kane moves out right away, taking their baby daughter. The very same day that he leaves, June 26th, undercover cops reportedly arrive at the Horman house for a sting operation with the very landscaper she allegedly tried to hire to murder her husband wearing a wire. Now, isn't that bad timing, Brenda Wade? I mean, Terry Horman, the stepmom, has to know something's fishy here. You know, she ends up calling the cops on this guy, and so she's basically calling the cops. They show up and they confront the undercover cops who were there with the landscaper on this sting operation. What horrible timing.
Well, the whole thing seems very confusing, Jane, but one thing is clear, that this is a family with a history of instability. I took a little time and looked at their histories. And, you know, we've got Terry, who's had other relationships, has a child elsewhere. We have the father who has, you know, little Kyron was from his first marriage. And with all this instability, one of the things I always look at as a psychologist is how much glue is there. So when we say, gee, isn't it odd he would just jump up and leave? Number one, yes, there's a very serious threat here. The man's afraid for his life. But the number two thing is, in a stable, healthy marriage, does your wife really want to kill you? There's a deeper issue, and I think we do need to look more deeply, because in families that are stable, we usually don't find kids disappearing in the hands of their stepmother. And let's put two and two together. The stepmother was the last person to see this little boy.
I want to bring in Jamie Wilson, a reporter with KPTV on the ground. Jamie, there is this convoluted sting operation. We're trying to explain it to our viewers. All of this went down apparently about 2 weeks ago on June 26th. Tell us what happened that day.
Well, the frustrating part of all of this, Jane, is that police won't confirm any of those details with us.
Hello?
Earlier this week, my colleagues and I were able to confirm with a source close to the investigation, an anonymous source that we're not naming, that sting actually did happen. But when we ask investigators directly about these things, they will not confirm them with us.
But tell us about the sting.
What we're hearing is that police sent an undercover officer to Terry Horman's property with this landscaper who she allegedly asked to kill her husband, that she may pay him for that. And apparently they went to the house and tried to get Terry to talk about this offer that she made him, but she shut it down. She was having no part of it, and that is the day that she apparently called 911 saying that someone on her property was making threats. So we're hearing that she did not mention anything about that offer that day.
It's called cold feet. It's called cold feet, Jane. They went there, wired up to try to get her to talk about this. This is how murder for hire plots go down. She approached the landscaper. The landscaper goes, okay. He goes to the cops. They get an undercover officer to go, hey, I'm going to be the hitman. How do you want it done? They go try to get her to talk about how she wants it done, when she wants it done. Wait a second. And then all of a sudden she gets cold feet and says, maybe she said, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Then she most likely called 911 to cover her own butt.
Well, come on now. You know, after 7 months, don't you think that she would have been suspicious, considering all that happened? Even the most uneducated person in the world would know that this was going to be a setup. Oh, Lord.
Keep in mind, though, if I can interject, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Keep in mind, though, that this landscaper apparently was approached with this offer about 7 or 8 months ago.
Exactly.
So the question is, why didn't he go to police then? Again, none of this is being confirmed, so we don't know. Right. But if a layman out there in the community, anyone is being approached with an offer like this, you would hope that they would go to police immediately and not wait for this family
to be
cast in the spotlight.
I agree with that, but what I've got to get in here is why choose that particular day to launch the sting operation? The guy you're looking at right there is just leaving the woman you're looking at right there that very day. He has just learned about this plot. He is terrified for his life. He's packing up. He's saying, bye, I'm out of here. I'm taking the kid. That's the day that you decide to launch a sting operation. And hello, ma'am. I'd like to discuss that alleged plot that you were concocting several months ago. It doesn't. Somebody help me out here. It sounds like horrible timing to me. Midwin Charles.
It does sound like horrible timing, but Jane, this is the thing that I'm wondering about myself. Maybe the landscaper didn't come forward until he saw her photograph, and then he said to the police, hey, that woman contacted me, or he saw the name, something like that. They may not have had the info. I don't know, call me crazy, but that's my theory.
All right, but what, you know, Mike Brooks on the other side, think about this, and on the other side, we're going to take callers and also ask you, why let the husband know? Why not do the sting while there's still the appearance that everything's normal? Because once the husband leaves, that's a signal to her that, whoop,